So I bought two inexpensive Apple displays off Facebook Marketplace. I was told that they were broken. They showed me one of them was broken, but when I brought them home and I plugged the first one in, it turned on and registered as an LED cinema display. Seemed like it worked fine. Testing the additional features, there's a USB port on that cinema display that uh, controls the brightness, connects to the camera and USB ports and network port on the back of the monitor. You can see it is a A1316 Apple LED cinema display on the bottom of the stand. Now that one works, so let's go to the other one. The other one is a A1407 Apple Thunderbolt display. This display is a little different because it doesn't have a display port cable. It has a Thunderbolt 2 cable from Apple, which looks like the same connector. But if you look at the barrel, it's a little longer and there's a little Thunderbolt icon on it. This one looks a little used. So let's take this off and see what we have under there. And it is just the shielding exposed, so that probably seen a lot of wear, probably moving back and forth and maybe uh, damaging the wires underneath. So that could be the problem. And against my better judgment, I'm gonna plug it in and test it out. We're using an old 2014 um, Mac Mini, and nothing's happening. So let us take a closer look. And the cable going into the monitor is loose. So someone's taking this apart, and we probably now want to investigate further. Um, right before I do that, though, I'm just gonna plug a separate cable into the Thunderbolt port in the back of the Mac, because that should have been the solution if the original cable was broken. But sometimes people don't have these cables. They're like the 40 bucks or more. Nope, didn't work. So let's take it apart now. I'm using these really big suction cups. I recommend maybe getting smaller ones if you're going to do this. I know that this glass can handle this. Never use a big suction cup like that directly on the LED or the LCD screen. Now, looking inside, there's a lot of fingerprints that are not mine, so I know that someone's taken this apart. So I guess we'll have to go a little further in, taking the big screen off. I can see that the main cable to the panel is not there. It's missing completely. It's not even in the monitor. And all these cables that are disconnected, they were disconnected. I did not pull them off. So the power to the main board, the speakers, everything is not connected. The ground is not connected. The bracket holding the Thunderbolt cable in is not connected, or is actually missing completely. Everything else looks to be in good shape though. So I guess, oh, the ground screw's missing. There's a lot of screws missing. I guess we're gonna have to flip over the board and see what we find under there. So there's not as many screws as there should be. So this didn't take very long. Let's flip this over and we see the Thunderbolt connector is still connected. But this is the suspect damaged part, or the part that's not working. So let's take it off. They do sell replacements for this, but online they're like 60, 70, 80 bucks or more for some reason, when you could just plug a Thunderbolt cable in the back of the monitor. So let's test this cable out separately. We're going to tape up that braid part just so it doesn't bend anymore. And then examine it a little closer. I've never actually looked in one of these, but it is just a Thunderbolt cable connected to the board. You can see the connectors look the same. But I can't plug a regular Thunderbolt cable into the board because that plastic's going to get in the way. So let's test this on another computer we know works fine with a Thunderbolt 2 cable. It's an external GPU. I used it in another video. So we're plugging that in and we're gonna test this 2070 NVIDIA card, and it is not detecting it, no GPU. So this cable is probably bad. So I guess we will put everything back together because I went on eBay and bought some parts. Got extra screws that fit. Uh, they're a little smaller on the head, but they'll work. Counting how many we need, yeah, we have enough. So let's get that together. And I got a couple other parts. I did buy the bracket to hold the connector in, but I probably don't need it because I'm not going to use the cable anymore uh, unless I buy a new one. I did find a screw that will work to hold the ground in. It's a machine screw that was missing. So let's get that in there. Don't want to put this together without the ground. A couple other things. The screw for the ground on the main board seemed to be stripped. So I got a slightly bigger screw that works. So we're going to use that. It grounds the panel to the main board. I also found a replacement for the LCD panel to the main board, the data cable. Make sure that fits in there, and it does. So I think it's going to work. So let's go ahead and put the panel back on carefully. We don't know if the previous person ripped this out improperly. Yeah, that looks like it fits. Let's flip the panel, get it back together, put all the cables back in, and that ground screw. Now that the cable on the left side I did put in. I forgot to push play when I continued the video, so it didn't show it, but I did put that in. Everything's back together. Getting the screws on. There's tiny screws in that corner that get stuck by the magnet, so got to be careful. Now let's test this. I taped up the opening where the cable was removed and just plugged in the Thunderbolt cable directly to the back of the monitor. And let's test it out. Powering on. Hey, there you go. And boom, it turns on. Now, I already cleaned and wiped the glass, so it looks pretty good. There's some nicks in the glass on the edges, but it's not in front of the visible area, and it's not sharp and dangerous. So I don't care. This is just going to be an extra monitor. And everything looks fine. So let's connect both monitors. The cinema display is on the left, and the Thunderbolt display is on the right. You can see they both have different plugs. They both connect to the Thunderbolt connectors, even though one's a DisplayPort. The Apple Thunderbolt plugs work as DisplayPorts, only for Apple. So they both work. Let's log in, test out a video. Now the performance of the video is based on the machine, but the way it looks is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for color, brightness, dead pixels. So that looks good. So it looks like one display wasn't broken at all, and the other one actually just needed to have a cable plugged in. Maybe in the future I'll get a real cable and take it apart again, but so far both work, so we're just going to leave it at that. Now, I did notice online a lot of people selling cinema displays and Thunderbolt displays and not knowing which would work or what the difference is. So I think in the next video I'll use these two monitors and I'll make a comparison and see what you can plug this into, whether they're Macintoshes or non-Macintosh computers. So if you want to see that, go ahead and like and subscribe.